Okay, so ready to dive into prepping for a wholesale merchant and office furniture interview.
Let's do it.
Awesome. We've got some RoleCatcher resources to help us out here. We're going to unpack what interviewers are really looking for, uh, give you some sample answers to get you started, and sprinkle in some tips from the RoleCatcher Career Guide.
Yeah, it's like getting a sneak peek behind the curtain.
Exactly. So first things first, who is a wholesale merchant in office furniture? It's more than just loving furniture.
Oh, absolutely. Think of them as the bridge between the furniture makers and the offices that need them. They're closing those bulk deals and making sure offices have the right stuff to, actually function.
Okay, I like that. So they're like the architects of productivity then.
I like that. Architects of productivity. I'm going to use that.
Steal it. All right, so let's jump into some interview questions. Can you describe your experience in office furniture wholesale? How would you tackle that one?
This is where you got to show off what you've done, but don't just list job titles. Think about skills you've picked up, even if they weren't directly in wholesale. Sales, business development, supply chain.
So instead of saying I was a sales associate, you'd say something like, I was responsible for building relationships with clients, understanding their needs, and presenting solutions that worked for their budget and style.
Exactly. And don't forget to highlight your wins. Did you crush sales targets? Land a huge client? Those details make your experience come alive.
Good point. Now, what about this one? How do you stay up to date with industry trends and new products? I feel like interviewers want to see if you're really into this stuff.
Yeah, they're looking for that passion for learning. How do you stay ahead of the game? Think industry publications like Furniture Today or Interior Design Magazine, and of course trade shows. Neocon's a big one.
Oh, yeah. Neocon, I saw some wild new ergonomic chair designs there last year. The technology was crazy.
See, that's how you make your answer memorable. You're not just saying you go to trade shows, you're showing you're actually paying attention to what's new.
I got it. Okay, let's get to a question that's at the heart of the job. Can you walk us through your sales process? This is where you got to prove you can close those deals right.
It's all about showing your strategy. How do you find potential clients? Build that rapport and trust. Present your products in a way that connects with their needs. And then, how do you seal the deal?
So it's not just knowing the product, it's knowing the whole journey from start to finish.
Exactly. A top-notch wholesale merchant is a strategic thinker, a relationship builder, and a closer all in one.
Okay, this next question is the one everyone dreads. How do you handle difficult clients or situations? Because let's be real, not every client's a dream.
True. But this is your chance to show off your conflict resolution skills and how you communicate. Think of a specific example where you had a tough client or situation and how you handled it calmly and professionally.
So instead of just saying, I'm good with difficult people, you'd tell a story about a time you smoothed things over.
Yeah.
Maybe a client was upset about a late delivery and you found a way to make him happy.
Perfect example. It shows you can think on your feet, stay cool, and find solutions that work for everyone. And focus on that positive outcome. Did you turn that unhappy client into a happy one?
Yeah, it's like every answer is a chance to tell a story that shows off your skills.
That's the key. Stories make you memorable and help you connect with the interviewer.
Okay, here's another one that needs a good story. Can you tell us about a successful project you worked on in the past? This feels like your time to shine.
Absolutely. This is where the STAR method comes in. Situation, task, action, result. Pick a project where you were a key player, describe the situation, what you had to do, the actions you took, and that positive result. And quantify your success. Did you go above and beyond sales targets, land a major client, streamline a process? Numbers matter.
So instead of I helped increase sales, it's I implemented a new sales strategy that boosted sales revenue by 15% compared to the previous quarter.
Now you're talking. That's specific, measurable, and impressive.
All right, negotiation's huge in this role, so I bet they'll ask, how do you approach negotiating with clients or vendors? What's the secret to nail in this one?
It's about finding that balance between being assertive, but also diplomatic. Show them you can listen, understand everyone's needs, and find solutions that work for everybody. Think about a tough negotiation you've handled. What were the key things that led to a win-win?
So it's not about being a hard bargainer, it's about being a problem solver and a relationship builder.
Exactly. And remember, every negotiation's different. You got to be flexible and adjust your approach based on who you're dealing with.
Now, time management is key in any fast-paced job, so I'm guessing, how do you manage your time and prioritize tasks? Will
Well,
come up. What's the best way to answer this one?
don't just list the tools you use. Explain how they help you stay on top of deadlines and juggle all those tasks. Do you use a planner, project management software? Tell them how your system keeps you organized and efficient.
So instead of I use a to-do list, it's I use project management software to track deadlines, assign tasks, and see how things are progressing. This helps me keep projects on track and everyone knows what they're responsible for.
Much better. It shows you've got a system and you're proactive about managing your time.
Okay, let's talk relationships. Wholesale is all about connections, so I bet they'll ask, how do you build and maintain relationships with clients and vendors? What are the key points to hit here?
It's all about the long game. It's not just about closing one deal. It's about building that trust and connection that leads to repeat business and good word of mouth.
So it's about going the extra mile, right? Like sending handwritten thank you notes or remembering birthdays. Those little things can make a difference.
For sure. Give specific examples of how you've nurtured those relationships. Maybe you helped a client find a unique furniture solution that wasn't in your usual catalog, or you went above and beyond to make sure a delivery went smoothly. Those details show your commitment to building strong connections.
Okay, last but not least, what are your strengths as a wholesale merchant in office furniture? This one seems simple, but I'm guessing there's more to it than just listing your strengths.
You got it. Remember, it's not enough to just say you're organized or a good communicator. You got to back it up with examples. Tell a story about a time your organizational skills saved the day or your communication skills helps you close a big deal.
So instead of I'm a good negotiator, it's I'm a skilled negotiator with a proven track record of getting great deals. In my last role, I negotiated a contract with a major client that saved them 20%.
Boom! You've connected your strength to a specific example that shows your expertise and makes you more believable.
This is all great advice, but I bet our listeners thinking, how can I remember all this and tailor it to each job? That's where RoleCatcher's AI comes in, right?
This is where it gets really cool. RoleCatcher's AI can look at job descriptions and figure out the specific skills and keywords that are most important for each role. It can also suggest ways to improve your resume and even give you feedback on your interview answers to make them stronger and more focused.
Wow. It's like having a personal career coach in your pocket.
Exactly. And it can save you so much time and effort by helping you focus on what matters most for each job.
Okay, before we move on to the RoleCatcher Career Guide, any advice for entry-level folks listening in? Anything they should focus on when answering these questions?
Great point. If you're just starting out, highlight those transferable skills we talked about. Maybe you haven't worked in wholesale, but you've had jobs where you learned customer service communication or just a strong work ethic.
So even without direct experience, you can still show off those valuable skills that employers are looking for.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to show your passion for the industry. If you're genuinely interested in office furniture and design, let that enthusiasm shine through.
Great advice. Okay, let's dive into the RoleCatcher Career Guide now. What are some key insights that can help our listener prep for their interview?
The career guide's packed with info about the wholesale merchant role, like typical responsibilities, skills needed, and potential career paths. It's a great way to understand the industry and where you fit in.
So it's not just about acing the interview, it's about seeing the big picture and where this role can take you.
Exactly. The career guide can help you picture your future in this field and figure out the steps to reach your career goals.
This is all so helpful. I feel like our listeners are already ahead of the game.
They are, but we're not done yet. In the next part of our Dupe Dive, we'll look at real-world examples of how to answer those interview questions and dig deeper into how RoleCatcher's AI can help you tailor your responses for maximum impact. Stay tuned. Okay, so we've talked about some of those common questions, right? Now let's get into how to make your application really stand out.
Yes. We talk about how RoleCatcher's AI can analyze those job descriptions, but how does that actually help with your resume and interview answers?
It's pretty amazing, actually. Let's say a job description really emphasizes strong negotiation skills and experience with sustainable furniture. RoleCatcher's AI picks up on those keywords and suggests ways to weave them into your resume.
So instead of just negotiated contracts with vendors, it's successfully negotiated contracts with vendors to secure sustainable and cost-effective furniture solutions.
You got it. It's all about matching your language to what the employer wants. And it works the same way for your interview answers. RoleCatcher can give you feedback on your responses, make them more concise, impactful, and aligned with the specific job.
It's like you're speaking their language.
Exactly. Think of it as having a personalized career coach in your back pocket.
I like it. Okay, so we've covered general interview tips, but the RoleCatcher Career Guide also has some specific insights for wholesale merchants in office furniture, right?
It does. For instance, it lays out the typical career path for someone in this role. You might start as a junior wholesale merchant, helping out senior merchants and learning the ropes.
So doing things like market research, identifying potential clients, Maybe even shadowing those senior merchants on sales calls.
Exactly. It's a great way to get your foot in the door and get some real-world experience.
And then as you gain experience, you could move up to a full-fledged wholesale merchant, managing your own client accounts and negotiating deals on your own.
Right. And eventually, you might even become a senior wholesale merchant, lead in a team of merchants, and develop in sales strategies for the whole department.
Wow, so there's definitely room to grow in this field.
Absolutely. And the career guide also talks about specialized areas within the industry. You could focus on a specific type of furniture, like ergonomic chairs or those modular workstations, or you could target a specific market, like healthcare or education.
So you can really carve out your own niche and become an expert in a certain area.
Exactly. And speaking of becoming an expert, let's talk about how RoleCatcher's skill guides can help you prepare for those competency-based interview questions.
Oh, yeah. Those can be tricky. They're not just asking about your experience, they're asking you to prove you have certain skills.
Exactly. They might ask something like, tell me about a time you had to negotiate a tough contract, or describe the situation where you had to deal with a difficult client. These questions are all about seeing how you solve problems, communicate, and negotiate.
So how do RoleCatcher skill guides help with that?
They give you a framework for answering these types of questions. For example, the negotiation skill guide might suggest using the BAIT-TNA approach. That's best alternative to a negotiated agreement. It helps you figure out your walkaway point in a negotiation so you don't give up too much and hurt your goals.
Interesting. So it's not just about smooth talking, it's about having a strategy.
You got it. And the communication skill guide really focuses on active listening, clear and concise messages, and adjusting your communication style depending on who you're talking to.
So like you'd use more formal language with a CEO than you would with a coworker.
Exactly. It's all about knowing your audience and adapting your style.
And I imagine the problem-solving skill guide comes in handy for those tough questions about dealing with difficult situations.
Absolutely. It gives you a structured way to identify the problem, gather info, explore potential solutions, and make smart decisions. It's a super valuable skill in any role, but especially in a fast-paced field like wholesale.
This is all incredibly helpful. I feel like our listener is going to walk into that interview feeling super confident and prepared.
They should. But we're not done yet. In the next part of our deep dive, we're going to look at some real-life examples of how to answer those tough interview questions, and we'll really dig into how RoleCatcher's AI can help you tailor your answers to make a killer impression.
I can't wait. This is getting me fired up. Okay, so we've nailed down those interview questions and how RoleCatcher can help you prep. Now let's step back and look at the big picture. The office furniture world itself.
It's changing all the time. I mean, think about it. The way we work is totally different these days. Remote work, co-working spaces, everyone wants a happy and healthy workplace. It's all impacting office design.
Yeah, totally. You don't see those boring cubicle farms anymore. It's all about open spaces, collaboration, and comfy ergonomic furniture.
Exactly. So a wholesale merchant needs to be more than just a salesperson now. They got to be a consultant, a trendsetter, almost a fortune teller. They need to understand how these trends are affecting things and give their clients the best advice.
So how can our listeners show that they get it in an interview?
Let's say the interviewer throws this at you. What do you think are the biggest challenges facing the office furniture industry today? Boom. That's your chance to prove you're thinking beyond just desks and chairs. You're seeing the whole industry. You could talk about things like supply chain problems, the shift to working from home, or the demand for sustainable and ergonomic stuff.
Yeah, that definitely make you stand out. Shows you're plugged in and you know what's going on.
It shows you can think critically and strategically too, which is important no matter what job you're going for.
Now, before we wrap up, I wanted to touch on something super important for any interview. Telling a good story.
Oh yeah, stories are the best way to connect with people and make your experiences stick. Think back to those interview questions we talked about. Each one is a chance to tell a story that shows off your skills, your personality, and what you're passionate about.
Like instead of just saying, I'm a good negotiator, tell a story about a time you closed a tough deal. Highlight the challenges, the strategies you used, the win you achieved. Paint that picture for them.
Exactly. Let them see you in action, facing challenges, and coming out on top. Those stories will stick with them.
This has been such an insightful deep dive. I feel like our listener is ready to rock that interview.
I think so too. Remember, preparation is key. Do your research, practice your answers, and let your personality and passion shine. And don't forget those RoleCatcher tools. They're there to help you tailor your answers and get feedback.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And most importantly, believe in yourself. You got this. Good luck with your interview, and we'll be here to cheer you on as you become a rock star wholesale merchant in office furniture.